There are several technologies used to interpret court hearings from a remote location. This includes interpreting over the telephone, interpreting using telepresence or ITV, or interpreting using distance court interpreting technology, DCI. In this video, we will demonstrate how to conduct a remote hearing using DCI technology. DCI technology allows for simultaneous interpreting using a telephone. Before the hearing begins, make sure you have all your equipment and information ready. When possible, the court will provide the interpreter with some basic background information on the case prior to the hearing. If the interpreter does not receive background information beforehand, the interpreter may ask the courtroom staff or judge for a brief introduction to the case when the hearing begins. This could include the type of proceeding and the names of the parties and attorneys involved in the case. You will need the following: a phone to communicate with the courtroom. Ideally, you would have a headset connected to your desktop phone. You will see the advantage of a headset later in the video. Cell phones can also be used, though desktop phones tend to provide better sound quality and a more reliable connection. You should also have a pen and paper ready to take notes during the proceeding. Finally, you should have relevant case information, such as the parties' names and the court file number, at the ready. As the hearing is about to start, the courtroom will call you at the phone number you provided to the scheduler. Be sure to write down the time you start. You may be put on hold until the hearing begins. You will be notified when the hearing has started. If the courtroom cannot hear you, make sure you are on mode 2 by pressing the number 2 on your dial pad. A headset or handset is recommended. However, if you must use a cell phone, be sure to test functionality with court staff prior to the hearing. Always make sure you are in a quiet space away from distractions and noises. Once the hearing has begun, you will switch between modes to communicate with the courtroom and the Limited English Proficient Person, or LEP. Begin the hearing on mode 2 so the judge and everyone in the courtroom can hear you. Ask the judge for permission to speak with the LEP person for a moment. Press number 1 on the dial pad. Speak with the party briefly to be sure they can hear you clearly and you both speak the same language. Remember, on mode 1, only the LEP person or other parties with the headphone on in the courtroom will hear you. You will hear a beep when you change modes. Pause for a second before speaking to be sure you don't speak over the beep and allow time for the mode to switch. You will still be able to hear the courtroom on your headset, but only the LEP person will hear you on mode 1. This feature allows the interpreter to interpret simultaneously. Press number 2 on the dial pad and inform the courtroom you have established contact with the LEP person and you are prepared to interpret English back to the courtroom. Again, pause for the beep before you begin speaking. The judge will ask you a few questions and administer the oath to you. You should interpret everything said, including the oath or any questions the judge may ask you directly. You will continue to switch between modes 1 and 2 throughout the hearing. The judicial officer will confirm the end of the hearing. You may be asked to stay on the line for additional time to interpret the LEP person's order or next steps. Once finished, wait for the court to disconnect the call. The interpreter should never disconnect from an interpreting event before the court disconnects. When the call is over, be sure to make note of the end time. If you have additional questions about remote interpreting using DCI, visit the For Interpreters tab at the website listed on the screen. or contact the Court Interpreter Program Coordinator, Polly Ryan.